This is an AS Maths question on logarithms. What we can see here is a student's attempt to solve a log equation 2 log to the base 2x minus log to the base 2 root x is equal to 3, and their working is shown here. These questions are quite common where it will show you a student's working, and then what we need to do is identify the errors. Now it's saying here that we need to identify 2 errors made by the student, and we need to give a brief explanation of each error. So we'll start at the beginning. So here it's just the original equation that's just been written out, so that's fine, no problems. On the next step, what they've done is they've taken the subtraction and then written it as a division, and then done x divided by root x. But there's a problem. This 2 cannot just be written at the front. If there was a 2 in front of the other log here, that would be fine, that would be a common factor. But that 2 should have been dealt with and made a power of x. So there's my first issue here with that 2. So I'll just write down that the 2 from the first term cannot be written at the front of both terms in step 2. I'll call it step 2. Let's number these steps. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and step 5. I guess another way of saying that is that the 2 should have been moved and written as x squared here. So I'll write that down as well. The 2 from step 1 should have been written or been moved to make x squared. So from this term, 2 log base 2x, it should have been written as log base 2x squared. Then I can put them together. Okay, let's continue. So we're on to step number 3. We now ignore any previous errors. So here I've got x divided by root x. Now x would be x to the power 1. Let's write that out. And I'm dividing it by x to the power a half, which means I subtract the powers. So that would be x to the power a half, which is square root of x. So yeah, don't see any problems with that step there. That seems okay. Now the next step here. Now if this is x to the power a half, I can bring that half to the front and divide the 2. Yeah, that's correct, because that's effectively 2 times a half, which is 1. So yeah, don't see any problems with that step there. Then on to the last step. There's got to be an error here. If there are 2 errors, we've only identified 1 so far, and it's saying x is equal to 3 squared, which is 9. Now this is where the other error is. The base is 2, so that means it's 2 to the power something, and it's 2 to the power 3. So it should be x is equal to 2 to the power 3, not 3 to the power 2. So there's my second error. So let's put a little bullet point there. Another one here for my second error. And I'll write down that x should have been 2 to the power 3, not 3 to the power 2. Part B is asking us to write out a correct solution. So let's start from the very beginning. 2 log x, base 2x minus log to the base 2 root x is equal to 3. So my first step would be to move this 2 here so it becomes x squared. That was the first error, so log base 2 x squared minus log base 2, and I'm going to write my root x as x to the power half. Don't need to really, I just prefer dealing with that, is equal to 3. So now I can put these two together using the rules of logs. So I'll have log to the base 2 of x squared divided by x to the power half is equal to 3. So now what I can do is subtract these powers. So 2 divided by, or 2 minus a half will give me x to the power 1.5, 3 over 2 is equal to 3. I'm now going to move the 3 over 2, which is here, to the front. So I'll have 3 over 2 log base 2 x is equal to 3. Then I'm going to divide both sides by 3 over 2. So log to the base 2 x is going to equal 3 divided by 3 over 2. And that gives me 2. So now if I'm going to write this, I'll have 2 to the power 2 is equal to x. 2 to the power 2 is equal to x. So that gives me that x is equal to 4 as my final correct solution.